It was raining, the bus stop had been inexplicably moved, so I missed my bus, and feeling a bit out of sorts, I had to call up Osteria Fernanda to say I would be 20 to 30 minutes late for my dinner reservation. Chef Davide Del Duca himself answered and calmly said, "Non si preoccupi, don't worry," which made me feel a lot better. Still, by the time I got to Osteria Fernanda, I was too late to do my customary B-roll restaurant approach filming, and went inside right after these two patrons in front of me. It was my last night in Rome, so to further improve my mood, I decided to go the whole hog and ordered the 10-course Degustazione selected by the chef from the à la carte. A glass of excellent spumante made from Nebbiolo vinified in rosé from the Doria winery in the Oltrepo Pavese between Piacenza and Tortona got me fully relaxed and aware of my very agreeable surroundings and the extremely welcoming service. I was now ready to enjoy the evening. I had a hunch it might be spectacular. And my hunch turned out to be right. Along with my bubbly, there were glissini made with cornmeal and Normandy butter. Then came the amuse-bouche. Tomato water to be drunk from the bowl, a round of peanut cream with a dollop of Crodino, the non-alcoholic aperitivo gelée, most visibly arresting at the front of the plate, fried cuttlefish ink in rice, which is then puffed and popped, with 2 bits of pea cream keeping it grounded, a rolled-up thin slice of celeriac filled with roast celeriac and cashews, and chicken liver pâté with a citrus cream on a cracker, and, lest I forget the bread, whole wheat and semi-whole wheat bread with salted Normandy butter and olive oil from Lazio. That prepared me for the starters. First up was an oyster with perilla oil, fermented Jerusalem artichoke, and black lemon. I think perilla is more commonly known as shiso, but there may be other varieties in this family. This was a fabulous way to begin. I knew the rest of the dinner was going to maintain this extremely high initial standard. Earthy flavors to follow. A porcini cap slathered in whiskey-imbued miso on a bed of crumbled bread. And I think there might have been a hazelnut or two as well. What was that gelatin we can see? I either forgot to write it down or forgot to inquire. Sometimes, aside from filming and taking notes, I actually want to eat these fantastic items immediately. Next wine, a very drinkable orange wine called 1001 Vite, or 1001 Lives, from Il Bottino in Lanuvio, in the Castelli Romani, Roman Castles district south of Rome. It was a blend of no fewer than 5 grapes. Malvasia Pontinata, Malvasia Bianca di Candia, Bellone, Trebbiano Toscano, and Trebbiano Giallo. Did you get all of that? Don't worry, there won't be a quiz at the end of this episode. The third and last starter was something I'd hoped would be included. Smoked lamb, wrapped in wild mustard leaves along with mustard seeds. A chestnut cream streak in the front, and a dark beer reduction behind it. Panko provided crunch on top. It was so good. I wondered whether I might be getting strange looks from other diners because of my rapturous expression. I had been hoping for exceptional food, and I was being rewarded far beyond my expectations. Next up were 3 primi. The first of these were ravioli filled with the mild, creamy blue cheese, Blu del Monviso from Piemonte. Now let me tell you about that broth. It was a kombucha-based broth using root vegetable peels fermented in a kombucha tisane. Scattered over the ravioli were little leaves of the herb centocchio, which I believe is called chickweed in English. And there was a sprinkling of sunflower seeds as well. Stuffed pasta in broth at its most creative and delightful. The second pasta course was tagliolini made from spirulina, which is derived from algae, giving the coils their distinctive green color. The darker green just barely visible on the right at the bottom was a chervil cream, and the other cream on the left was from fennel. Tuna botarga was crumbled over the top. An outstanding example of a marine-flavored pasta dish. Before the final pasta, we moved to a red wine, a Cerasuolo d'Abruzzo made by Paride d'Angelo in Pianella, to the west of Pescara. It was very enjoyable, and I felt privileged to have a glass of this wine for just the one course. Now to that final pasta. Spaghetti made from a stock using all the peels and roots from the vegetables, including salsify, that they were using in the kitchen. Entirely vegetal, the flavor was rich, dark, and very umami. The spaghetti are well camouflaged by a dense canopy of black summer truffles. What a triumphal way to wrap up the primi! At the start, I'd been informed that there would be 2 secondi. Having had sweetbreads 3 nights in a row, which were listed on the à la carte, I asked whether the chef might be in agreement with another dish being included instead in the degustazione, such as the secondo I indeed then got. Eel. I love eel, and there's no chance of my eating any eel in Vienna. Here, the slices of succulent eel were accompanied by vegetables marinated in bitters. I forgot to ask which bitters, my discipline was waning, fermented rice, and umeboshi plums. What a heavenly dish! If I had seen the chef before the end of the meal, I would have thanked him for including this in my degustazione. But he had to go home early to relieve his Saturday night babysitter, so I could only nod and smile to him through the window as he passed my table on the way home. We had moved on to another red now, a Merlot Cabernet Franc Refosco cuvée from Friuli Venezia Giulia, but I forgot to photograph the bottle or the wine. As I said, my concentration was letting up. I was also trying to assess how much space I had left for 1 more secondo and 2 dolci. That last secondo was pigeon, the breast and legs, which are slightly concealed here under other ingredients. You can easily identify the grilled leeks. There were also wafers whose composition I forgot to ask about. The 2 sauces were a hazelnut sauce and a pomegranate reduction. I'm going to say right now that on my next trip to Rome, if I discover at the last moment that for some reason Osteria Fernanda is closed for vacation, I will rebook my flight. Dessert wine time. From Foderà, a winery just outside Marsala in western Sicily, a late harvest Grillo. This was going to be a delight with whatever desserts Chef Davide Del Duca had planned for me. I'll be honest with you, I was close to straining a bit, but I pulled all my discipline together to make sure I enjoyed both desserts. First off, salted fior di latte gelato on the left. On the right, a sphere of coffee gelato with a spread of toasted white chocolate cream, which becomes darker during the toasting in the oven. At the top, a cremino of 3 different chocolate layers. And underneath or on top of both gelati was a crumble made from hazelnuts, bread, and olive oil. Before we come to the last dessert, course number 10, let me say that I hope you will join me in a future season of my vlog, hopefully as of sometime from November or so on. Where the vlog will be focused on next time, I can't say at the moment because I don't know. And now, the final dessert. On a generous cloud of black garlic foam, a scoop of ice cream made from porter, as in dark beer, was resting, surrounded by bits of dark chocolate and chips made from root vegetable peels. A combination of surprising ingredients which melded into an incredibly harmonious flavor experience. I've used up all my enthusiastic adjectives, but I felt I had saved my most exciting dinner for my last night. What a send-off to my 5-night stay in Rome.